Hey everybody, it's Cardfighter Hunter here, and I know I said that you guys wouldn't hear from me for a little while, but I lied, I guess. So today I'm going to do a little discussion about a card that is coming out in BTO5 that is a personal favorite of mine, and I would say I talk about it in the majority of my videos. That card being, of course, Dragonic Overlord the End. Dragonic Overlord the End is a cross ride, which basically means he has 11,000 base power, which if he has the previous version in the soul, goes up to 13,000 power on both turns. His other ability is when he attacks and hits, doesn't have to hit Vanguard, just when it hits, you can attack a rear guard and kill it, but as long as it hits, you can counterblast 2, Persona Blast, which means drop a copy of itself, and stand him back up, he does not lose Twin Drive. This card has 3 main advantages. The first, of course, being that it is 13,000 base power, and I don't think I need to say much about that. It's really broken. I mean, the 13k power is really good. I wouldn't call it broken by itself, but in combination with the other ability, it is very broken. And there has been a lot of debate about the strength of this card. I have heard people at my locals say, no, Sternblau Kluger and Spectral Duke Dragon are better. This card is balanced. No, far from it. This card is undebatably the best card in the game. Up until set 9, debatably. And even then, it's better than the majority of the cross rides in that set. So, well, let's just compare it to Sternblau Kluger and Spectral Duke. Sternblau Kluger, when these two are both ride chain cards, which means if you have the grade 2 versions of the ride chain in the soul, they gain 1,000 power on both turns. His ability is Counterblast 2, discard 2 cards, and when his attack hits a Vanguard, pay the cost and stand him back up, as well as the card behind it, and it loses Twin Drive. So this is, I mean, it's kind of a -1 compared to this. Yes, it makes your opponent shell out a lot more hand, but the advantage that it gains is a -1 because of the fact that you basically waste your entire drive check, your entire Twin Drive to draw 1 card. So it's while it is good and it can be very threatening, no one really gives a crap about it being there. I mean, they can just be like perfect guarded and then it's over. Whereas this guy can attack your rear guard. Okay, Silent Tom, I will attack it for 21,000 power. Do you want to guard it? No? Okay, stand up. Attack your Vanguard for 18 plus 1 critical if I got a crit trigger. This card is incredibly good, and it forces your opponent to make a lot of bad plays. Which they may do that intentionally or unintentionally. It really depends on, how good their hand is. So this card, while being very, very strong, very, very powerful, it cannot even get close to the power of the End, because this card applies instant pressure when it's on the field at all times, even if it's not cross-righted. Even if it's just 11,000 power, it's still a threat if you have 2 open counterblasts, because that means that I can Twin Drive twice. Spectral Duke Dragon, on the other hand, is a limit break 4. Counterblast 2, retire 3 of your units on the field, and in the close step of the attack, when it attacks a Vanguard, you may stand this and it loses Twin Drive. The only advantage that this has over the End is that this does not have to hit in order to stand, but it does lose Twin Drive. So, I'm just going to do a little test to show you how good this is compared to, like, other things, I guess. say you've got Gareth back here and a Vortimer and then a Trip, and the Vortimer is in Soul, so it's going to hit for 18. Alright, so this swings for 18. Okay, guard, don't guard, whatever. He pulls crit. Okay, all effects here. Stand him up. 16 plus 1 critical. Huh. Okay. No pass. guard 10k for no pass. Or hypothetically, if he doesn't get a trigger, which he or she, if they don't get a trigger, I can block that for 5 for no pass. Again, continuing with the 3 advantages that this card has over Spectral Duke and Sternblau Kluger are the 13k base power, the threat of Quad Drive, which basically forces your opponent to guard 20k if you say have a bar behind it, or even like a Gojo if they have a 10k Vanguard. This is very, very, very scary because they have to guard this, because if you get another one, stand him up and then he attacks again. And then also, if they attack this for 17, I can block that for 5. Whereas, if it was Sternblau Kluger, I have to guard that for 10, or no guard. And then they get to unflip the damage if you no guard it. So really, the end is, I really don't need, I would think that this would be like common sense, drawing 4 cards compared to discarding 3 cards to gain 3 cards. I would think that that would make a lot more sense, but I don't know, I guess not. Another advantage that Kagero in general has over Gold Paladins is the wide variety of cards that we have to blow their stuff up. So like, if your grade 1 lineup looks something like this, be like, okay, well, I can blow anything on your side of the field up, or I can be totally aggro if I want, or I can even do a little bit of both. So, especially considering the fact that we have Conroe, which is by far the best starter in the game, that we have access to all of these easily, that I can be able to run one of these cards and still be able to get it very easily. It is insane that this deck is so viable. Well, not viable. I mean, yes, viable, but that it has such a large variety, and it is so easily tutored, I guess, by Conroe. So you have all these to blow your opponent's stuff up, and then if you have a grade 2 lineup that looks like this, imagine that the Holmes are Burning Horns, which are just the 12k attackers if you have Overlord in your Vanguard circle, which you always should. These all blow up your side of the field easily. Okay, you know, I will play Blonde Ezel, and then I will use his Limit Break to gain 10,000 power by being a sack of crap and calling a bowman. Yeah, and then I will attack for, boosted by Gareth, I will attack for ridiculous 33. And then Perfect Guard comes in, because I will be running 4. I have the 4th one on the way. I only have three on me right now, but I will have 4 when the end comes out, and hopefully by this weekend, because it just shipped today. So I have until Saturday for it to get to me, and today's Monday, so it is very possible that I could get it by then. Anyway, okay, my turn. Play Berserk Dragon, it dies. Bye. um, I don't really think I need to say much about how Kagero is probably the best clan out there, at least right now. Because, you know, in BT10, there's a lot of ridiculous stuff that comes out. So, oh, one more thing I would like to mention quite briefly. There's a new card coming out in, BT10, which will not be out in English probably until August at the very earliest, called Eradicator Dragonic Descendant, which is a new card for Narukami, with 11,000 base power, which seems to be a new standard. RIP 10k Vanguards. Its first ability is Counterblast 2 Eradicator cards, which means you have to flip 2 Eradicator cards. And then it will gain 5,000 power until the end of turn. And its other ability is, when its attack fails, Counterblast 1, discard 3 Eradicator cards from your hand, and stand him back up, and he gains +1 critical and does not lose Twin Drive. This is very, very good, and it can be very, very scary. However, if you know you're going to play against it, firstly you can know by what their starter is, because they have a superior ride, which honestly is not that good. It's kind of a minus because you're losing so many cards. But you know right away, theoretically, if they're running the superior ride, you'll know right away. I've been thinking, and I think Dragonic Descendant, as good as it is, cannot beat the end. I mean, it can, of course, but it's not better than the end. Because when I was talking about those 3 advantages that it has, the threat of quad drive, and the 13k base power, when you ride Dragonic Descendant, it's like, okay, you have Dragonic Descendant. It's Limit Break 4. This guy's not Limit Break. If I have 2 open counterblasts, this guy is a threat. And I can attack you, and you can die very easily. Okay, not actually die, but your spirit will disappear from the planet Cray. Okay, this is serious business, yo. No. And at 13k, like I said, I can guard things for 5k. Like this, I can guard this column, a Bowman, and a Vortimer for 5, or a Vivian and a Gareth for 5, or, you know, there are infinite possibilities. They don't have to all be Gold Paladin, of course, but at 13k, you have to hit 18k for me to guard for 10k. Like, if you're playing Lockkeeper, then, and you Lockkeeper me, and all my cards are bound, and you attack me with a Dual Axe Arc Dragon supported by a Bar for 21k, I can guard that for 10. Like, all Vanguards in the game, except for maybe like Shamsil or something, they will have to guard that for 15. And Dragonic Descendant will also have to guard that for 15. Secondly, the end provides infinite pressure to guard it, in fear of me quad driving and out advantaging you. But if your opponent, if you're playing against Descendant, then you'll guard early so that you don't have to guard Descendant's attacks, because, you know, you don't want to be critted to death. I mean, I don't know what to say, because this card is really good, because if it were Limit Break, it would still be amazing, but not as, of course it wouldn't be as amazing as if it were Limit Break, but I don't need to say much about how this is broken and why Limit Break is such a restriction, because this always has infinite pressure. Also, Descendant is kind of a minus in hand advantage, because you discard 3 cards to drive check 2 more times, whereas I have to discard 1 card to drive check 2 more times. And if you discard 3 Eradicator cards, then you're kind of screwed, because if I ride break you with Baden Dragger, Liberator Gancelot, or Platina Ezel, or something like that, you know, GG. This is just going over 15 minutes, So, I'm gonna split this up into two parts, I guess. However, I do believe that Dragonic Descendant is better than Spectral Duke and, Sternblau Kluger, because, one, 11k base power, superior ride, and it does not lose Twin Drive, and it gains +1 critical, if the attack fails. So, I think this combined with a lot of the other Eradicator cards makes him very, very scary, but still very beatable. Still a lot easier to beat than this guy. Because Narukami, even with all the support they're getting, they do not have access to cards that can attack your back row, or cards that, well, actually they do have a clone of Berserk Dragon, but they do not have Chimnaras or Heat Nails. Like, I can just play this. Like, if I have a field that's like this, and then pretend, you know, Bellicosity Dragon is coming out in March, so pretend I have him. Pretend this is Bellicosity Dragon, which its effect is, if its attack hits a Vanguard, unflip 1 damage. A field like this, which is very, very easy to get with Conroe being able to tutor your entire back row, this is very easy to get. So, you know, they're going to have to guard all of these, or they're going to lose some serious advantage. If they don't block this, I kill their back row. If they don't block this, I get to Twin Drive 2 times. If they don't block this, I can unflip and possibly use the end more, or use Chimnara or Berserk or whatever. So Kagero has infinite card advantage that even Descendant, as good as Descendant is, it does not have that sort of advantage. And especially, I guess, they're in BT11, there are going to be new cross rides coming out for Kagero. So even though it's not going to be the end, and it probably won't be as good as the end, it's still going to be, you know, it's still good that we're getting new support. And I wonder how they're going to differentiate Narukami and Kagero, because they just gave Narukami a bunch of cards that can kill cards like Kagero did. So I'm like, okay, so are we gonna get Narukami clones now? Is that what's going on? Because now both Fire and Thunder Dragons get to kill everything. You know, before Narukami was just about attacking everything, but Kagero was retiring you know. So, yeah, I will be doing an updated Kagero Dragonic Overlord the End deck profile when it comes out in 18 days. Actually, hang on. When it comes out in 18 days. Actually, less if you're doing the sneak peek, which I probably will be doing the sneak peek, because I want the ends and Burning Horns and Hysteric Shirley's and Dark Soul Conductor and shit. So, that is my discussion about Dragonic Overlord the End, who, even in sets 10 with all the ride breaks, is still really, really good. And you can tell Bushiroad is afraid to make cards like this again, because it is just too powerful. Like, compared to this, none of the cards in Season 2 at all can stand up to this, except for maybe Platina Ezel, Glory Maelstrom. That's like it. And maybe like Chrome Jailer Dragon. Everything else in Season 2 is absolutely terrible compared to this. I mean, compared to this, like, in general, like, if this didn't exist, like, they would be really good, and everyone would be playing Gold Paladins like they are in English. But, you know, that's not the way it is. This card does exist, and in 18 days, it is going to be a whole cross-ride meta. Everyone is going to be running MLB, PBO, or the End. I've seen it already. People at our locals are like, hey, do you have any Kagero stuff? And I'm like, I've been playing Kagero longer than you've been playing Vanguard, so no, I don't. I mean, I do, but not for trade. Which reminds me, it's been close. I'm not sure the exact day, of course, that I started playing Vanguard, but it's been close to a year since I've started playing. And so, you know, first year anniversary of me in this game, I guess. So, and I get to celebrate by getting the most broken card in the game. So, thank you about for watching my rant about Dragonic Overlord the end. And sorry if you don't like the fact that Spectral Duke, Sternblock Kluger, and Dragonic Descendant are worse than this card. Yeah, Bushy Road kind of failed. They were pretty good at keeping, you know, the power creep to a minimal, and then they made this. Oops. So, thanks for watching, and I think I'm actually gonna do a quick update Kagero video. So, thanks. Bye.